Hey guys, it's Elle. Today I will be answering 10 frequently asked Gyaru related questions. These are questions that I've received several times on many of my Gyaru related TikToks and things like that. Also questions that I know that are just I don't want to say a sore subject for the Gyaru community, but it does have a lot of controversy related to it, or you get a different answer depending on who you ask. But yeah, I want to do more Q&As in the future, so follow my Instagram or my TikTok if you have any questions, either related to Gyaru or just questions about me. I may do a personal Q&A. So yeah, follow me on my other socials, as well as leave any other questions that you have in the comments. Let's get into it. The first one that I'll be answering is a question that I see a lot of people ask, specifically on TikTok. I feel like this is only a TikTok problem, to be honest, when it comes to Gyarus. And it's, can I be Gyaru if I'm not Japanese? The reason why I say this is a common question that tends to be a bit controversial is because a lot of people who aren't Gyaru just know that it is a Gyaru subculture and think it's appropriation to do it without really knowing the origins of Gyaru in general. But yes, you can do Gyaru if you are not Japanese. I'm not Japanese. I do Gyaru. It is meant to give you more Western features. So me already being Western is just me exaggerating the features that I already have. Gyaru also started as a rebellion to beauty standards, but also it was inspired by a lot of black women, black famous women. There are Gyaru magazines that have Beyonce and Rihanna in it. Of course you don't have to be Japanese because it's influenced by Japanese culture, but nothing about it is necessarily Japanese, if that makes sense. Next question is, do I have to learn Japanese to participate in Gyaru? Now, the reason why I put this question down, because this is also isn't really a frequently asked question, but I put this down because there are a lot of verbiage and vocabulary within Gyaru culture that are in Japanese, and a lot of people, me included, who are interested in J fashion in general, you also have this appreciation for Japanese culture, which makes you want to learn the language. And a lot of Gyaru slang is obviously in Japanese. So I think it's just most people who are into Gyaru as a culture, and not just stylistic wise, they just like the clothes or whatever. When you're into the culture of it, a lot of people do try to learn a bit of more Japanese. I was already into Japanese culture and learning Japanese before I actually got into Gyaru, and I think that just really propelled me to want to immerse myself more in Japanese culture and get to learn about it a little more, because I was already interested in the language. And I think participating in something that is a Japanese subculture, you end up inherently learning more about Japan. There's a lot of Gyaru slang. I don't know a lot of it, but I think if you're in more if you're surrounded by people who are Gyaru and also want to speak Japanese, I think it's okay to pick up certain vocabulary. I might do a video on certain vocabs within the Gyaru community, or something that you'll just see often from other Gyarus. But it's not a requirement. It's not a requirement for you to speak Japanese, but I can understand someone wanting to learn a bit more Japanese whilst getting into Gyaru. Next, can minors be Gyaru? This is another controversial topic, especially with a lot of things that are happening surrounding the egg magazine and egg models. I'm not gonna get into that in this video. I've already made a video on that, and they also recently did some more questionable things, but I'm not gonna be talking about that. The most I'm gonna say about that is, if you follow Egg Magazine, probably consider unfollowing them or blocking them or reporting certain posts, because like I said, I'm not gonna get into it. That's too much right now. I think yes, but there are certain things that I feel minors shouldn't be super interested on. Gyaru doesn't have an age limit yet, or there is no overall consensus of yes, there's an age limit. I think a lot of Gyarus, I think this is a sentiment that I've seen a lot of Japanese Gyarus share, is that they are just excited that Gyaru is again popular. for a lot of people overseas and of all ages. So on one hand, it's just like, yeah, sure, like we love for there to be more Gyarus in the scene. Like the whole like point of like I believe like Black Diamond was literally to just make everybody Gyaru. Like that was their thing. They wanted to share Gyaru with the entire world and have more Gyarus in the world. But I think before you were even in your preteens, probably don't. If you have an interest for it, I would spend that time learning more about it. But if you're not in your preteens yet, no. If you are in your preteens, there are certain styles that I don't really think or I recommend for them to start off with. Gyaru automatically has this weird like sexual connotation for some people, and that's not like Gyaru's fault. That's not our fault. But I think because of that, there are a lot of styles that are meant to be more sexy. Agejo is literally based on hostess and related more to the club scene and things like that. So it's meant to be kind of, I don't want to say risque, but it's meant to be sexy. And I don't think anyone who isn't 18 should be trying to be sexy. If you are interested in Gyaru, I think you should start off with more lighter styles or Reiwa Gyaru, especially since a lot of minors often say that they aren't allowed to wear a lot of makeup or they're not allowed to wear lashes, things like that, or wear wigs or dye their hair. Because of that, I think a lot of minors should really stick to more himekaji, nanchate. So I think that's a better choice. I just think if you're young, probably just take this time to learn about it until you get a bit older. Next question, do I have to tan? Short answer, no. Though that is part of like the rebellious thing and like the opposite of a lot of beauty standards. It's not a requirement. There are a lot of subtitles that don't even require a tan. Like Okyu Gyaru doesn't really require a tan. You'll mostly see that for Gyarus without a tan. Shiro Gyaru literally translates to white Gyaru. It just means Gyarus who don't tan. But again, that in itself is a little bit controversial because that's also a part of the like Reiwa versus Heisei Gyaru. No, you don't have to tan. When I do Gyaru makeup, I like to make my makeup a little more tan or use a lot more bronzer. But I'm also black, so it's like I could tan. I just don't go outside. But that's what also makes Gyaru like a perfect choice for people who are dark skinned. And it's meant to like make you feel more confident in your skin because all these Gyarus literally want your skin tone. Like they want to be sun-kissed goddesses too. So it makes it a lot easier if you are tan, I think, to read as Gyaru very easily, because I think that is a big thing within the community. But like I said, it's not like you have to. You don't have to, but might be better. The next question is, do I have to wear a bunch of makeup? This is again Reiwa versus Heisei. If you're a minor and you don't think you can because of like rules that your parents have or whatever, then no. But also just know it may be harder to read as Gyaru because of that, and so you may have to dress a little more Gyaru versus then the makeup, which I've already said before. When people come to me and they're like, I don't like the feeling of wearing makeup, can I be Gyaru? And I'm like, are you never wearing makeup? Because like you kind of have to. But there are some styles that are more focused on the clothes, and there are some styles that are more focused on the makeup. For example, Kigurumi, you can wear whatever type of Gyaru makeup, any style of Gyaru makeup. It's more common to see it with, I think, mambas, but you can wear any type of makeup, and like the only requirement for Kigurumi is to literally wear a onesie, which I think is what I think that's what that means. I think that's what that word means. Either that or it's like specifically like of a cartoon character. My point is there are styles that don't really require a lot of makeup, or the makeup isn't the focal point, so you could probably get away with still reading as Gyaru without it. But I think that's a very like case by case. I think if you're a baby Gyaru, don't really worry too much about this because you have time to evolve. You have time to get better at your makeup. You have time to get better at your outfits. So like, I don't know, if people start hating on you, say, bitch, I'm new to this, okay? Give me a second, I just got here, all right? If you're an absolutely I'm not wearing makeup, I got some bad news for you, shawty. Next question, do I have to bleach and or dye my hair to be Gyaru? Short answer, no. You don't have to. Like I said, there are certain styles that don't require it. Roku Gyaru, you're mostly going to see people with darker hair. Because Roku Gyaru is more inspired by just like literally the rock scene, alternative styles. There's not too much harping on the hair because the hair is usually just black. You can have dark hair and be Gyaru. You can still read as Gyaru with dark hair. Like, if you don't want to bleach your hair, get a wig. Get a really good wig. So it's one of those things where it would help. For certain sub-styles, I think it's more so like implied that you should. But like, you can get away with it. You can get away with not dyeing your hair for certain looks. I think they're just, like I said, it's very case by case with most of these questions about like, do I have to do XYZ? It's usually like, what style, what sub style are you a part of? Or are you in that you like the most? Which one? Because it almost has its own set of rules. And the most famous question that everybody be saying, that low key be feeling backhanded, when they be like, I would love to be Gyaru, but I just know I would get bullied. Bitch, why are you commenting that under my fucking video? You basically just said you look like you get bullied. That's what you said without saying it. But the whole point of Gyaru is to have this like, I don't care, I am me, I'ma do what I do. It don't matter what everybody else is doing, don't matter whatever trend people are on. I'ma do me. I think it just also depends on like your reasoning for getting into Gyaru. I think a lot more people have this like, I think more Western Gyarus, more Gaijin Gyarus have this sentiment of, you know, I don't have to conform to anybody's beauty standards. I don't have to conform to anybody's beauty standards. Therefore, I'm gonna wear what I want. I don't care. But I think it's something also to know. Any alternative style that you get into, yes, Gyaru is an alternative style. By default, you were saying either I've been rejected by society and I'm going to do my own thing, or I'm rejecting society because I don't like its standards. I don't like the things it teaches us, whatever. That's basically what you're kind of saying. So to be worried about getting bullied is like the opposite of what you should be doing, because you should be like, no matter what anybody thinks about what I'm wearing, how I dress, any of that, what matters is how good I feel when I dress like this. What matters is how much I love myself. What matters is how much like I am focusing purely on my happiness. This is also why a lot of the like stereotypes with Gyaru is for a lot of more Gyarus to be kind of abrasive or kind of have a like I don't give a fuck attitude, because you have to kind of stand up for yourself. Like, that's kind of the point. You're taking a stand and being like, bitch, you don't get to tell me what to do. You don't get to tell me what to wear. And what I wear or how I do my makeup doesn't define me as a person either. Like, if your main concern is about getting bullied and that's really a concern for you, then just don't do it. I'm sorry. Another question that's a little controversial is Gyaru racist? Now, baby, is it inherently racist? No. Do people often take it to the extreme when it comes to the tan skin? Yes. That is why some people, I'm saying some because this isn't something that everybody agrees on apparently, clearly, because we're asking this question. You shouldn't make your skin more than 3 shades darker than what you can naturally tan. Therefore, if you can't naturally ever get to the color foundation that you're wearing, don't put it on. Now, some people don't give a fuck. There are a couple of Gyarus who, I ain't gonna say no names, but they make it a point. I'm not gonna say no names, but damn, because I actually like this Gyaru. There's this one Gyaru who makes it a point like every other month to act like she's bought the wrong foundation and she's so shocked that it's so dark, but then she still wears it. That's clickbait, that's rage bait, all that. It's extra and it is annoying, especially when they're called out multiple times. It gets annoying. Do some Gyarus wear box braids? Yes, unfortunately. To the point where it's like so bad, to the point that box braids is literally considered like a Gyaru hairstyle. Especially pick and drops, little micro braids where they stop and then it goes back to whatever hair. Yeah, that's a Gyaru style. We can go into the semantics of like why they don't why don't they see it as a bad thing in Japan. I don't think I'm educated enough to do that. I think there are other Gyarus who are more educated in that matter. I want to say her name is Haru. She is both black and Japanese. She has lived in America and Japan. She can say more about it. I'm sure she has a specific video about it. I'll put her tag to her TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, there's a lot to dissect and talk about with that. And at some point, at least for me, I just came to the conclusion. It's the same thing with like K-pop idols wearing braids. It's like, you know, in their heads, they're not seeing it as a cultural thing. Especially with Gyaru, we have to consider they have black girls in their Gyaru magazines. Like, in their head, yes, they're like,
but I love Beyonce. Beyonce had micro braids. I have micro braids too now. What's happening?
There was a big debate of people who weren't even Gyaru or in the Gyaru scene at all, and just seeing it from a third point of view, an outsider looking in. It was like
those Gyarus, like, they don't care about you. They don't like you. They're mocking you in front of your face. If you're Gyaru and you're black, like, you're just the weakest link. Yada yada yada.
I can't control them people wearing box braids. All I can sit there and do is sigh every time they do. But when it comes to certain people where they're like, there have been some Gyarus that have like made a point to block everybody that said anything, instead of like literally just saying,
oh, I just liked it because I like black culture.
Like, not to say that would really like mend this situation, but like maybe say something. I really just think it's like it's a whole thing for people to understand like black culture. And I know a lot of people just get tired of having to explain it to the point where like wearing box braids doesn't make you inherently racist. I think your response to other people saying, hey, that's cultural appropriation, is what makes you racist. If your instinct is to block all the black people in your comments that are saying this is cultural appropriation, and you're liking the comments that are defending you, saying that, oh, well, it looks good on her, so why does it matter? I ain't gonna say no names. I seen a Gyaru do that, and I had to side-eye. But I think it's just like not a hill I particularly want to die on of trying to convince everybody not to wear box braids. Sometimes you just gotta understand people are ignorant, they gonna be ignorant. But just because there are a few bad apples in a bunch, don't mean we all bad. Like, not every single non-black Gyaru is racist. But, you know, we're gonna side-eye the ones that are, like, and keep it pushing. Another question that everybody be asking everybody is, where do I buy Gyaru clothes? My first response when getting this question for the first time was basically like, just buy clothes that are like 2000s inspired, that are very much like McBling, because that is the specific era of Gyaru that I was trying to emulate, that I really, really liked. But there being several different substyles of Gyaru, I don't think that's the perfect answer anymore. But I say until you found the substyle that you think suits you the most, I wouldn't worry too much about it, honestly. Like, I would just try to make Gyaru outfits out of clothes you already have, because I've always noticed, like, when buying clothes, just in general, I know if I style it with something else or I wear something else with it, it can give a whole different like style and aesthetic. So yeah, when outside of like the Nick Bling thing, because that's just like my favorite fucking era of anything, like the makeup, the fashion, the music, the TV shows, the movies. Like, I'm always a sucker for anything that's in the early 2000s. It was already easier for me to do styles like Mamba, or Tsuyome, because like I already liked cheetah prints. I already liked hot pink, things like this, like I already liked. So it was very easier for me, I guess, because that was already a style I was in. Also, for me, Udoki Gyaru was very easy as well because I was already into emo fashion, and I would literally just wear like my emo clothes and then put on makeup. But when it comes to buying clothes, I'm not gonna be like one of those people that just say thrifting. Just go thrifting, baby. Not everybody's thrift shop looks the same. For one, two, it is always a hit and miss at a thrift store. I'm not gonna tell you to do that. I live in Texas. You think my thrift store got Gyaru clothes, bitch? I have yet to find another Gyaru, let alone a thrift store that has Gyaru clothes. Like, my first instinct is just, like I said, figure out what sub-style and go based on that. For non-thrifting, that's very easy. A cardigan, a tie or a bow tie, flat skirt, button up. That's a whole fit right there. That's a whole fit right there. Things that weren't very hard to find. I'm like, go to the mall. Go to the mall. That's the real answer. Don't nobody be saying go to the mall. Forever 21, your bestie. If you don't want to participate in fast fashion, I would suggest AliExpress. Last question. Is Gyaru meant to be ugly? Short answer, no. It just looks ugly to some people because it's not meant to be conventionally attractive. It's not meant to be ugly. Nobody said do your makeup incorrectly. It's just a bolder style that a lot of people will find ugly because you're not trying to necessarily be conventionally attractive. Also, like, being attractive isn't like the motive. It's like you should already feel attractive. You should already be confident. That's what Gyaru is about, instilling that confidence into you. But that is it. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below, and also turn on your notifications if you haven't already, so you know when I upload and you'll never miss a video. But yeah, that's it. See you guys next time. Bye.